Emperor Vestal sat on his golden throne, high above the spinning galaxy below. The massive space station that held his palace was bigger than most moons. Crystal windows stretched from floor to ceiling, showing the endless stars that belonged to him. For 3,000 years, his family had ruled every world, every species, every living thing among those stars. The emperor was not human. His skin was dark blue, and his eyes glowed like purple flames. 6 arms moved as he read reports from across his empire. Each arm was covered in golden rings that showed his power. When he spoke, his voice was deep and made the air shake. "Another new species, my lord," said General Thaxmar, kneeling before the throne. The general was tall and thin, with gray skin and no hair. Like all members of the Zephyrian race, he had been born to serve the Empire. They call themselves humans. They live in a small system near the outer edge of our territory. Vexthal barely looked up from his reports. New species were found all the time. Most were already advanced when they were discovered. Some had built great cities on multiple worlds. Others had powerful weapons or useful technology. All of them eventually bowed to the Empire. "What do they have that we need?" Vexthal asked. His voice was bored. He had asked this question 1,000,000 times before. "Very little, my lord," General Thaxmar replied. "Their technology is primitive. They have only just learned to travel faster than light. Their biggest ships are smaller than our fighters. They have established 3 small colonies, but these are basic settlements with simple buildings." The Emperor's purple eyes finally focused on the general. "Then why are you wasting my time?" "Because they refused our first contact message, my lord. When our scouts approached their home world, they sent back a message saying they would not join the Empire." A strange sound filled the throne room. It was Vexthal laughing. The sound was not pleasant. It was cold and sharp, like breaking glass. They refused? The Emperor stood up from his throne. He was very tall, almost 3 meters high. A primitive species that has barely learned to leave their own star system thinks they can refuse the Galactic Empire. General Thaxmar nodded. "Yes, my lord. They said they wished to remain independent. They claimed they had the right to govern themselves." Other officials in the throne room began to whisper among themselves. Some laughed quietly. The idea that any species could remain independent was funny to them. No one had successfully opposed the Empire in over 1,000 years. Admiral Krixvar stepped forward. He was the commander of the 7th Imperial Armada, one of the Empire's most powerful fleets. His species looked like large insects with 4 arms and compound eyes. His voice buzzed when he spoke. "My lord, perhaps I should take a small force to their system. We could demonstrate our power. Most species surrender quickly once they see our ships." Vexthal walked to the great window and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there was this species called humans. They thought they could tell the Empire no. They thought their tiny ships and primitive weapons could protect them. "Tell me more about these humans," the Emperor said. General Thaxmar opened his report tablet. "They appear to be mammalian, similar to several other species we have conquered. They have only 2 arms and 2 legs. They are smaller and weaker than most galactic species. Their average height is less than 2 meters. They're military?" Vexthal asked. "Basic," the general replied. "Their largest warships carry simple energy weapons. Their shields are weak. Our intelligence suggests their entire space fleet has fewer than 100 vessels. Most of these are transport ships, not warships." Admiral Krixvar buzzed with excitement. "My lord, my armada has over 500 dreadnoughts. Each of our ships is larger than their entire fleet combined. We could end this in hours." The Emperor turned back to face his court. His purple eyes were now bright with anger. "No," he said slowly. "This will not be a quick demonstration. These humans have insulted the Empire. They have refused to bow. They must be made an example. He walked back to his throne and sat down. The golden chair seemed to glow brighter as his anger grew. Admiral Krixvar, you will take the entire 7th Armada to the human home world. You will not simply demand their surrender. You will show them what happens to species that refuse the Empire's generous offer of membership. The Admiral bowed low. It will be my honor, my lord. You will give them time to see your fleet, Vexthal continued. Let them understand how small and weak they are. Let them feel fear. Then you will destroy their pathetic defense force. After that, you will bombard their colonies until they beg for mercy. General Thaxmer shifted nervously. My lord, what of the galactic laws regarding new species? The rules state that primitive species should be given time to develop. Vexthal's laugh returned, colder than before. Laws are for equals, General. These humans are not our equals. They are insects that have forgotten their place. When word spreads of what happened to the humans, other species will remember why they served the Empire. Admiral Krixvar saluted with all 4 arms. When should we depart, my lord? Immediately, the Emperor replied. I want this matter finished quickly. The humans wanted independence. Show them what independence costs. As the Admiral left to prepare his fleet, Vexthal returned to his reports. There were trade disputes to resolve, rebellions to crush, and new worlds to conquer. The humans were just another small problem in his vast empire. He did not know that in a small system called Sol, the humans had been watching and waiting. He did not know they had been preparing for this day. Most importantly, he did not know that what he thought was as simple. Punishment would become the beginning of the end for his 3,000 year. Rain. The Emperor continued reading his reports. As his fleet prepared to travel to Earth, soon, he thought, there would be one less species to worry about. Soon, the humans would learn what happened to those who dared to refuse the Galactic Empire. Dr. Sarah Chun stood in the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship positions, and alien communications. Dozens of technicians worked at their stations, monitoring signals from across the galaxy. None of them looked worried, even though they all knew a massive alien fleet was coming to destroy Earth. Ma'am, we're picking up the Imperial Fleet's departure signatures, reported Lieutenant Jackson from his station. 700 ships, just like our scouts predicted. Sarah nodded calmly. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. As head of the United Terran Defense Council's Advanced Research Division, she had been preparing for this day for 5 years. 700, she repeated. They're sending more ships than we expected. They really want to make an example of us. General Rodriguez, the head of Earth's military forces, walked over to join her. He was a large man with dark skin and worried eyes. Sarah, are you sure about this plan? That's a lot of firepower heading our way. Sarah smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Marcus, they think we're primitive. They think our ships are weak and our weapons are simple. Let them keep thinking that. She pressed a button on her control panel. The main screen changed to show a video feed from space. It looked like a normal view of the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Nothing seemed unusual about the floating rocks and ice chunks. Computer, adjust visual filters to show Project Nemesis, Sarah commanded. The screen flickered. Suddenly, there was something new among the asteroids. A ship appeared, but it was unlike anything that had ever been built before. It was sleek and dark, about the size of a large building. Its hull seemed to bend light around it, making it hard to look at directly. General Rodriguez whistled softly. Even knowing it's there, I can barely see it. That's the point, Sarah replied. The Nemesis has been hiding in the asteroid belt for 2 years. Its stealth systems make it invisible to every type of scanner the aliens use. They've probably looked right at it dozens of times and never seen it. She walked to another screen that showed technical specifications. The aliens think we just discovered faster than light travel. They don't know we've been studying their technology for decades. How? Asked General Rodriguez. Sarah's smile grew wider. We've been capturing their scout ships. Not the ones they know about. The ones they think just disappeared. We've taken apart their engines, studied their weapons, analyzed their computers. We know more about their technology than they think we do. Lieutenant Jackson turned from his station. Dr. Chun, incoming message from Admiral Mitchell aboard the Nemesis. Put her through, Sarah ordered. The screen changed to show the bridge of the hidden ship. Admiral Sarah Mitchell was a tall woman with short blonde hair. Behind her, the bridge crew worked at stations that looked nothing like the simple controls the aliens expected humans to have. Dr. Chun, General Rodriguez, Admiral Mitchell said. My crew is ready. All systems are running perfectly. How are the weapon tests going? Sarah asked. Better than expected, the Admiral replied. The phase cannons can punch through their shield technology like it's not even there. The adaptive armor is holding up perfectly, and the AI systems are learning their tactical patterns from every engagement they've had in the past 50 years. General Rodriguez frowned. Sarah, I still don't understand how we built all this without the aliens noticing. Sarah turned to face him. Marcus, we've been very careful. Every piece of advanced technology we've developed has been built in secret facilities. Underground, under the ocean, inside hollowed-out asteroids. The aliens only see what we want them to see. She gestured to another screen showing Earth's visible defense fleet. 30 ships floated in formation around the planet. They looked crude and simple compared to the sleek alien vessels. Those ships out there? They're real, but they're not what the aliens think they are. Each one has hidden weapon systems and advanced armor. They can take a lot more damage than they appear capable of taking. But they can't stand against 700 alien ships, General Rodriguez pointed out. They're not supposed to, Sarah replied. Those ships are going to lose the first battle. They're going to retreat. Some of them are going to explode dramatically. The aliens will think they've won. Admiral Mitchell leaned forward on her screen. While they're celebrating their easy victory, they'll be giving us something much more valuable than a win. Information, Sarah continued. We'll map their weapon frequencies, their shield harmonics, their communication protocols. We'll record their tactical formations and analyze their command structure. By the time they think they've beaten us, we'll know everything about how they fight. Lieutenant Jackson raised his hand. Ma'am, what about the civilians? The aliens are going to demand surrender. What do we tell people? Sarah's expression became serious. We tell them the truth. We're going to appear to lose the first battle. Some of our ships will be destroyed, or will appear to be destroyed. It will look very bad. But we need people to stay calm and trust the plan. General Rodriguez still looked worried. This is a huge risk, Sarah. If something goes wrong, if the Nemesis is detected early, we could lose everything. Marcus, Sarah said, turning to look out a window that showed the surface above their underground facility. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Empire has conquered every species they've encountered. Do you know why? Superior technology? He guessed. Arrogance, Sarah replied. They win because they think they're better than everyone else. They don't bother to really study their enemies. They don't think anyone could possibly surprise them. She walked back to the main screen, which now showed a countdown timer. The Imperial fleet will arrive in 18 hours. In 18 hours, they're going to learn that humans are very good at surprising people. Admiral Mitchell spoke from her screen. Dr. Chun, should we move the Nemesis into position? Not yet, Sarah replied. Let them arrive. Let them make their demands. Let them feel confident and superior. The longer they think we're helpless, the more surprised they'll be when they discover the truth. Lieutenant Jackson's station beeped with an incoming message. Ma'am, we're getting reports from our hidden observation posts throughout the galaxy. All 50 Nemesis-class ships are in position and ready. General Rodriguez's eyes widened. 50? I thought there was only one. Sarah's smile returned, and this time it was genuinely cheerful. Marcus, did you really think we build just one impossible ship? While the Empire was celebrating their victories and counting their conquered worlds, we were building the most advanced fleet in galactic history. She looked back at the countdown timer. 17 hours and 32 minutes until the Imperial fleet arrived. The aliens think they're coming to punish a primitive species for refusing to surrender, she said softly. Instead, they're about to discover that sometimes the prey is actually the predator. Admiral Krixvar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial Dominance. Through the massive viewing windows, he could see the human homeworld growing larger as his fleet approached. Earth looked small and blue, with white clouds swirling around it. It was almost beautiful, but Krixvar felt no appreciation for its appearance. Soon, it would be just another conquered world. Admiral, buzzed his communications officer. We are receiving a message from the human planet. Let me hear it, Krixvar replied, his compound eyes gleaming with amusement. A voice filled the bridge, speaking in the simple human language that their computers had learned to translate. This is President Chun of the United Earth Government. We ask that you identify yourselves and state your intentions in our system. Krixvar laughed, a harsh buzzing sound. Open a channel to all human frequencies. Make sure everyone on their planet can hear this. When his communications officer nodded, Krixvar spoke in his most commanding voice. Humans of Earth, I am Admiral Krixvar of the 7th Imperial Armada. You see before you 700 ships of the Galactic Empire. Each one of our smallest vessels could destroy your entire pathetic fleet. You have exactly 24 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you refuse, we will demonstrate what happens to species that dare to defy the Empire. The response came quickly. President Chun's voice was calm but firm. Admiral Krixvar, we appreciate your impressive display of force. However, humanity values its independence. We cannot surrender our freedom, no matter the cost. The Admiral's laugh became even harsher. Then you have chosen destruction. We will begin our attack in 24 hours. Use this time to say goodbye to your families. As the communication ended, Krixvar turned to his tactical officer. Show me their defense fleet. The main screen displayed the 30 human ships positioned between Earth and the Imperial fleet. They were tiny compared to the massive alien dreadnoughts. The largest human ship was barely the size of an Imperial fighter. Pathetic, muttered Commander Zelks, Krixvar's second-in-command. My lord, why are we waiting 24 hours? We could destroy them in minutes. Because the Emperor wants them to suffer, Krixvar replied. He wants them to spend a full day knowing they're about to die. Fear is an excellent teacher. What Admiral Krixvar did not know was that every second his fleet spent in the Sol system, the humans were learning. Hidden sensors recorded every energy signature his ships produced. Advanced computers analyzed the Imperial formation, mapping command structures and communication patterns. Aboard the human ship Defiance, Captain Maria Santos watched her tactical displays with satisfaction. Her ship looked primitive on the outside, but inside, it was packed with technology that would have amazed the Imperial fleet. Captain, reported her weapons officer, we've mapped their shield frequencies. Our phase weapons should cut right through them. Excellent, Captain Santos replied. What about their armor? Standard Imperial design, her engineer answered. Strong against conventional weapons, but our adaptive ammunition should penetrate easily. Captain Santos nodded. Remember, everyone, When the shooting starts, we're going to look like we're losing badly. Some of our ships are going to explode. It's going to seem hopeless. But every minute we stay in the fight, we're gathering more information. On the Imperial flagship, Admiral Krixvar was reviewing the battle plans with his commanders. The attack would be simple and overwhelming. His dreadnoughts would advance in a standard formation, destroy the human fleet quickly, then begin bombarding Earth cities until the humans begged for mercy. "My lord," said his intelligence officer, "we have completed our scans of the human ships. They appear even weaker than our initial reports suggested. Their weapons are crude energy cannons. Their shields are barely functional. Their armor is basic metal plating." Krixvar buzzed with pleasure. "Perfect. This will be over before it begins." 24 hours passed quickly. As the Imperial fleet moved into attack formation, the human ships positioned themselves in what looked like a desperate defensive line. Admiral Krixvar opened communications one final time. "Humans, this is your last chance. Surrender now, or face extinction." President Chun's voice answered from Earth. "Admiral, humanity has made its choice. We will not surrender our freedom." "Then die with honor, if you can," Krixvar replied. He turned to his weapons officer. "All ships, open fire." 700 Imperial dreadnoughts unleashed their weapons simultaneously. Beams of energy large enough to melt mountains streaked across space toward the tiny human fleet. The humans fired back with their pathetic weapons, but their shots seemed to barely scratch the Imperial shields. The first human ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Then a second. Then a third. "Yes," buzzed Commander Zelks. "They're falling like insects." But Admiral Krixvar frowned. Something seemed wrong. The human ships were exploding, but they were also moving in complex patterns. Instead of staying in formation like normal military vessels, they seemed to be dancing around his fleet, firing from different angles, retreating and advancing in ways that made no tactical sense. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "the humans are not fighting like any species we have encountered before. Their movement patterns are chaotic." "They're probably panicking," Krixvar replied. But his voice was less certain than before. More human ships exploded, but the remaining vessels continued their strange dance. They would attack from one direction, retreat quickly, and attack from somewhere completely different. Some ships seemed to take massive damage, but somehow kept fighting. What Admiral Krixvar could not see was that many of the destroyed human ships had not actually been destroyed at all. Advanced cloaking systems activated at the moment of apparent explosion, making the ships invisible, while holographic projectors created the illusion of debris. Captain Santos, whose ship had exploded 20 minutes ago, was now floating invisibly just a few kilometers from the Imperial flagship. Her sensors were recording everything. The Admiral's communications, his tactical decisions, even the internal layout of his ship. "This is incredible," whispered her science officer. "We're getting complete scans of their technology. Their computers aren't even trying to stop us. Why would they?" Captain Santos replied. "They think we're dead." Across the battle zone, other destroyed human ships were doing the same thing. They were inside the Imperial formation, invisible and undetected, gathering intelligence that would have taken years to collect through normal means. After 2 hours of fighting, only 5 human ships appeared to still be active. They were retreating toward Earth, firing desperately at the advancing Imperial fleet. Admiral Krixvar was pleased. "Excellent work. Now we begin the bombardment of their planet. Target their major cities first." But as his fleet prepared to attack Earth directly, something strange happened. His sensors detected a massive energy signature coming from the asteroid belt. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. "What is that?" demanded Commander Zelks. The tactical officer worked frantically at his instruments. "Sir, I'm reading an enormous power source, but I can't locate its origin. It's as if something very large is generating energy, but our sensors can't see it." Admiral Krixvar stared at his displays. The energy readings were impossible. No ship they knew of could generate that much power. And if there was a ship in the asteroid belt, why couldn't they see it? "Sir," called the communications officer, his voice filled with confusion. "We're receiving a transmission on Imperial frequencies. But it's not coming from any of our ships. Who is it?" Krixvar demanded. "Unknown, sir. The signal is coming from the same area as the energy readings." Admiral Krixvar felt a chill run through his insect body. "Put it through." A new voice filled the bridge. It was human, female, and completely calm. "Admiral Krixvar, this is Admiral Sarah Mitchell of the United Terran Defense Force. Thank you for the excellent training exercise. Your fleet has provided us with very useful information about Imperial military capabilities." Krixvar's compound eyes widened in shock. "Impossible. We destroyed your fleet. Did you?" Admiral Mitchell's voice carried a hint of amusement. "Admiral, you have 60 seconds to order your ships to withdraw from this system. If you refuse, we will demonstrate why humanity has remained hidden until now." "You're bluffing," Krixvar shouted. "You have no ships left." "Admiral," Admiral Mitchell replied, "you're about to learn that appearances can be very deceiving." Admiral Krixvar stared at his tactical displays in confusion. The energy readings from the asteroid belt were growing stronger, but his sensors still showed empty space. Whatever was generating that power remained completely invisible. 60 seconds have passed, Admiral," came Admiral Mitchell's calm voice over the communication system. "You have chosen to remain in our system. There's nothing there." Krixvar shouted at his screens. "Our sensors show empty space." "Your sensors show what we allow them to show," Admiral Mitchell replied. "Computer, decloak the Nemesis." Space itself seemed to ripple in the asteroid belt. Reality bent and twisted like water. Then, where moments before there had been nothing but floating rocks, something impossible appeared. The UTS Nemesis materialized directly in the center of the Imperial formation. It was enormous, nearly as large as Admiral Krixvar's flagship, but its design was unlike anything in the Imperial database. The hull seemed to absorb light, making it difficult to look at directly. Energy patterns moved across its surface like living things. "By the void," whispered Commander Zelks. "How is that possible?" Across the Imperial fleet, alarm systems began screaming. The ship's computers were reporting sensor readings that could not be real. The human vessel was generating power levels that should have been impossible. Its hull was composed of materials that their databases insisted did not exist. Admiral Krixvar's tactical officer turned from his instruments, his face pale with shock. "Sir, that ship is producing more energy than our entire fleet combined. Its weapons are charging with frequencies our computers have never seen before." "Impossible," Krixvar muttered. "Run a full scan. Find its weaknesses." His science officer worked frantically at the scanning equipment. After several minutes, he looked up with confusion in his eyes. "Sir, our scans are being reflected back at us. It's as if their hull is made of mirror material, but our sensors insist it's solid matter." Admiral Mitchell's voice filled the bridge again. "Admiral Krixvar, your scans cannot penetrate our adaptive armor. While you were playing with our decoy ships, our computers were analyzing your technology. We now know everything about your weapons, your shields, and your tactical systems." Krixvar, as anger, overcame his confusion. "One ship against 700. You're insane if you think you can threaten the Imperial fleet." "Admiral," came another voice from the asteroid belt. "This is Captain Williams of the UTS Retribution. We're also decloaking now." Another ship appeared, identical to the Nemesis. Then another, and another. Within seconds, 12 massive human warships had materialized around the Imperial fleet. Each one was generating the same impossible energy readings. Each one was scanning the Imperial ships with sensors that seemed to see through their armor like glass. Commander Zelks grabbed Admiral Krixvar's arm with his claw. "Sir, we need to retreat, now." But Krixvar's pride would not allow retreat. "All ships, attack formation. Destroy these human vessels." The Imperial fleet turned their weapons on the closest human ship, the Nemesis. 700 dreadnoughts fired simultaneously. Energy beams powerful enough to crack planets struck the human vessel from every direction. The light from the impact was so bright that the bridge crew had to shield their eyes. When the glow faded, they expected to see debris floating in space. Instead, the Nemesis hung in space exactly where it had been before. Its hull showed no damage, no scorch marks, no sign that it had been attacked at all. "Shields holding at 100%, Admiral Mitchell reported calmly. "Our turn." The Nemesis fired once. A single beam of energy lanced out from its hull and struck the Imperial dreadnought Conqueror. The beam did not explode against the ship's shields. Instead, it passed through the shield as if it was not there. It struck the ship's hull and carved through the armor like a knife through paper. But the Conqueror did not explode. Instead, its weapons went dark. Its engines stopped. Its lights flickered and died. "What did you do?" Krixvar demanded. "We disabled your ship," Admiral Mitchell replied. "Your crew is alive, but your vessel is now powerless. We have no desire to commit genocide, Admiral. We simply want you to leave." Krixvar looked at his tactical display. The Conqueror was indeed powerless, floating dead in space. But its hull was intact. Its crew was alive. The humans had surgically removed its ability to fight without destroying it. "Impossible," he breathed. "No weapon can be that precise." "Human weapons can," Admiral Mitchell said. "Admiral, we're going to disable your entire fleet. You can surrender now and keep your crews alive. Or you can continue fighting and watch us take apart every ship you have." Emperor Vexthuel's voice suddenly filled the bridge, transmitted from his distant throne world. "Admiral Krixvar, what is happening? Why have you stopped your attack?" Krixvar's voice was shaking. "My lord, the humans have ships. Advanced ships. They're more powerful than anything we've ever seen." "Impossible!" the Emperor roared. "They're a primitive species. Destroy them immediately." "I'm trying, my lord," Krixvar replied. "But our weapons can't damage them." The Nemesis fired again, and again. Each shot disabled another Imperial dreadnought with surgical precision. The human ships began moving through the Imperial formation, their weapons striking with impossible accuracy. What amazed Admiral Krixvar most was the speed. The human ships moved like dancers, weaving between the massive Imperial vessels. They seemed to predict where his ships would fire before the orders were even given. They dodged attacks that should have been impossible to avoid. "Sir," reported his tactical officer, "they're not just fast. They're reading our tactical computers. They know what we're going to do before we do it." Commander Zelks watched another Imperial ship go dark. "Sir, at this rate, they'll disable our entire fleet in less than an hour." But the most shocking moment came when Admiral Mitchell opened communications to Emperor Vexthuel directly. "Emperor Vexthuel," she said, her voice carrying across the galaxy to the distant throne world. "This is Admiral Sarah Mitchell of the United Terran Defense Force. I believe we need to talk." On his throne, thousands of light years away, Emperor Vexthuel felt something he had not experienced in centuries: fear. "How do you know my name?" he demanded. "How are you communicating on Imperial frequencies?" "We've been monitoring your empire for quite some time. Admiral Mitchell replied. "We know about your trade routes, your military deployments, your political structure. We've been watching you, learning about you, preparing for this day." "Preparing for what day?" Admiral Mitchell's voice was calm, but there was steel beneath the words. "The day you decided to threaten Earth. The day you made humanity an enemy instead of a potential ally." Vexthilla's purple eyes blazed with fury. "You dare threaten the Empire?" "Emperor," Admiral Mitchell said, "I'm not threatening your empire. I'm ending your empire." Suddenly, alerts began sounding across the Imperial throne station. General Thaxmer rushed into the throne room, his gray face pale with panic. "My lord," he gasped, "we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. Human ships are appearing everywhere. At our shipyards, our military bases, our capital worlds. Dozens of them. They're just materializing out of empty space." Emperor Vexthul felt his 6 arms begin to tremble. "How many ships?" "We don't know, my lord. But early reports suggest at least 50. All of them identical to the vessels fighting Admiral Krixvar." Admiral Mitchell's voice filled the throne room through the communication system. "Emperor Vexthul, while your admiral was attacking what he thought was our entire fleet, our real ships were positioning themselves throughout your empire. We could have destroyed your worlds, but we chose not to. We could have killed your people, but we are not monsters. What do you want?" The Emperor whispered. "Justice," Admiral Mitchell replied. "Your 3,000-year reign of conquest is over." Emperor Vexthul sat on his golden throne, but for the first time in his life, the chair felt like a prison. Reports flooded in from across his empire, each one worse than the last. Human ships had appeared at every major imperial world simultaneously. Not attacking, just waiting. "My lord," General Thaxmer said, his voice barely above a whisper, "the humans have surrounded our core worlds. They've disabled the orbital defense platforms around Zephyria Prime, Vexenol, and the Hegemony Station. All without firing a shot." Admiral Mitchell's voice continued to fill the throne room through the communication system. "Emperor, your fleets are powerful, but they were designed to fight enemies who use the same technology you do. We don't." On his screen, Vexthul could see Admiral Krixvar's fleet floating powerless in the space around Earth. 700 mighty dreadnoughts, each one capable of destroying a planet, were now nothing more than metal shells drifting in the void. Their crews were alive, but their ships were completely disabled. "How?" Vexthul asked, his voice cracking. "How did you hide this from us?" "We didn't hide it, Emperor. You simply weren't looking for it," Admiral Mitchell replied. "Your scouts found what we wanted them to find. Your intelligence agents saw what we wanted them to see. While you were celebrating your victories over primitive species, we were building the most advanced fleet in galactic history." Dr. Sarah Chun's voice joined the conversation from Earth. "Emperor Vexthul, for 5 years, we've been capturing your scout ships. Not the ones you know about, the ones that simply vanished. We studied your technology, learned your weaknesses, and developed counters for everything you had." Vexthul's purple eyes widened in horror. "The missing scouts. We thought they were just accidents." "There are no accidents in space," Admiral Mitchell said. "Every time you sent a ship to spy on us, we learned more about you. Every time you dismissed us as primitive, you gave us more time to prepare." General Thaxmer approached the throne hesitantly. "My lord, what are your orders?" Vexthul stared at the tactical displays surrounding his throne. The images showed human ships positioned around every important imperial world. Each vessel was identical to the ones that had defeated Admiral Krixvar. Each one was more powerful than anything in the imperial fleet. "How many ships do you have?" the Emperor asked quietly. "Enough," Admiral Mitchell replied. "Emperor, I'm going to offer you a choice. You can order your remaining fleets to attack our ships and we will destroy them. Or you can surrender, and your people can live. Surrender? Vextil's voice was filled with disbelief. The Galactic Empire has never surrendered. The Galactic Empire has never faced humanity before, Dr. Chun pointed out. Emperor, you came to our system intending to enslave our people. Instead, you've discovered that we are not the prey you thought we were. Admiral Krixvar's voice crackled over the communication system from his disabled flagship. My lord, I recommend surrender. These humans, they're not like any species we've ever encountered. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their weapons can disable our ships without destroying them. They could have killed us all, but they chose mercy. Emperor Vex still felt something break inside his chest. In 3,000 years, no Imperial Admiral had ever recommended surrender. What are your terms? He asked, his voice barely audible. Admiral Mitchell's response was immediate. Complete surrender of all Imperial forces. Immediate cessation of all military operations. Withdrawal of Imperial ships from all occupied systems. And your personal surrender. And if I refuse? Then we will demonstrate what happens to empires that refuse to learn, Admiral Mitchell said. Her voice was still calm, but there was steel beneath it. We have ships positioned around every Imperial world. We know the location of every military base, every shipyard, every government building. We could end your empire in a single coordinated strike. Vextil looked around his throne room. His advisors, his generals, his most trusted officials all stared at him with fear in their eyes. For the first time in their lives, they were facing an enemy that could actually destroy them. Emperor, Dr. Chun's voice was gentler now. We don't want to destroy your people, but we will not allow your empire to continue enslaving species across the galaxy. The age of imperial conquest is over. What will happen to my people? Vextil asked. They will be free, Admiral Mitchell replied. Free to govern themselves, free to choose their own paths, free from the fear of imperial conquest fleets. General Thaxmer stepped forward. My lord, perhaps it is time. Vextil looked at his oldest advisor. Time for what? Time for change, my lord. The Empire has ruled through fear for 3 millennia. Perhaps it is time to try ruling through cooperation instead. The Emperor stood up from his throne slowly. His 6 arms trembled as he walked to the great window that showed the galaxy beyond. Somewhere out there, human ships waited at every Imperial world. Ships that could destroy his empire, but chose not to. Very well, he said quietly. I surrender the Galactic Empire to humanity. Admiral Mitchell's voice was respectful when she replied. Emperor Vextil, the Terran Federation accepts your surrender. However, we are not here to replace your empire with our own. What do you mean? We don't want to rule the galaxy, Emperor. We want to free it. Each species will be allowed to govern itself. Each world will choose its own path. The age of empires is over. Dr. Chun's voice added, We will establish peacekeeping forces to prevent any single species from conquering others. We will share our technology to help all species develop and grow. But we will not rule over anyone. Vextil felt tears forming in his purple eyes. Why? Why show us mercy? We came to destroy you. Admiral Mitchell was quiet for a long moment before responding. Because that's what humans do, Emperor. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. We defend the weak against the strong. You try to make us your slaves, but we choose to make you our equals instead. Over the following hours, Imperial fleets across the galaxy received orders to stand down. Human ships took control of military installations without firing a shot. The 3,000-year-old Galactic Empire surrendered completely. Admiral Krixvar, still aboard his disabled flagship, watched as human ships began towing Imperial vessels back to their home worlds. His crew would be returned safely. His ships would be repaired and given back to the Imperial Navy, but only for defense, never for conquest. "Admiral," his communications officer said, "I'm receiving a personal message from Admiral Mitchell." "Let me hear it." Admiral Mitchell's voice was warm and friendly. "Admiral Crixfar, I wanted to personally thank you." "Thank me? For what?" "For giving us the chance to show our true strength. For proving to the galaxy that bullies can be stopped. For helping us demonstrate that there's a better way than conquest and fear." Crixfar was confused. "Admiral, we came here to destroy you." "I know. And in trying to destroy us, you gave us the opportunity to save the galaxy from your empire's cruelty. Your attack on Earth will be remembered as the day freedom returned to the stars. As the human ships began establishing peacekeeping stations throughout the former Imperial space, Emperor Vexthal received a final message from Dr. Chung. "Emperor, you wanted to make an example of humanity. You wanted other species to see what happened when they refused to surrender. Well, you got your wish. Every species in the galaxy now knows what happens when someone threatens humanity." "What happens?" Vexthal asked. "They discover that sometimes the smallest species can be the strongest. They learn that mercy is more powerful than cruelty. And they find out that humans don't just fight for themselves. We fight for everyone." The Emperor looked down at the stars one last time from his former throne. Tomorrow, he would be taken to Earth to stand trial for his empire's crimes. But he would be treated fairly, given a chance to help rebuild what his empire had destroyed. For the first time in 3,000 years, the galaxy was free. And it was all because one alien empire had made the mistake of threatening a species that looked weak, but was actually the strongest of all. Emperor Vexthal finally